Put a force field around the ones he wants, the elect, right? Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Right. Once the members of the elect hit those chariots, in the chariots, the so-called UFOs have windows, and you can look right out the window, and you can see you will see the destruction of America. All right. As a matter of fact, there's a brother. I forgot the name of the brother. If anyone remembers, he can put it in the comment section. The brother had a vision, really a dream, which was a vision, and he saw the chariot, and one of the chariots had a glass bottom, so you could be able to look down and see the destruction of this place. You know, kind of reminds me of the song by Max Romero, "Warring of Babylon." One of my favorites. You old heads, you'll probably remember that. You old reggae heads. There's a line in the song where he goes, "I'm sat upon the mountain top, watching Babylon burning red hot, war in the Babylon." Well, that's literal, man. The elect that are going to be delivered by Yahushua, they're literally going to sit on the mountain top. That's the chariot, and watch Babylon burn red hot.
I'd like to start off by saying Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is "This Truth Seems Strange to the Heathen." Now, I just finished watching Elder Apostle Gabar's video. I watched almost about 50 minutes or so. I just wanted to get this lesson going. And when he mentioned this here, when he started speaking about the chariot, matter of fact, the brother that had the vision was Damashapat, the head of the Indianapolis camp. I believe he's in Indianapolis now. And pretty much when he was going into this and explaining this whole what I just played for you, you know, I was thinking about these heathen, how they look at this as being strange, you know, and bugged out. They look at it as being strange and bugged out because they don't understand. That's, you know, when that this title came to me when the Apostle Gabar was, you know, mentioning this. Now, when he was speaking on it, you know, that's what came to mind, you know. And when we go out there and teach, and brothers bring out the salvation of Israel, which is going to be through those chariots, you know, Yahushua, Michael the archangel, the rest of the angels, and the chariots coming. When you speak like that, these nations look at it as being strange because they don't understand that that's beyond their concept. You know, that's beyond anything that they can fathom. By the way, I put this video in the description box. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it. Very good video. So I just looked at the word strange just to see what it said. It says unusual or surprising in a way that is unsettling or hard to understand. See? So this truth is unsettling and hard to understand to the heathen. And the heathen beginning with Esau, then you have the heathen, the other heathen nations, and you even have those Israelites that are not a part of the elect, that this truth is unsettling and hard to understand, which is strange. So this, when he spoke about, you know, Max Romeo, Warring to Babylon, you know, I looked up the lyrics, and right here it says Marcus Garvey prophesied, say, one must live 10 miles away, yea, in this time. Ayman Sata at the mountaintop, watching Babylon burning red hot, red hot. You know, so pretty much, you know, when you speak like that, like I said, these nations look at this as being strange. You know, they can't perceive that because it's not given to them. And to the world, you know, it seems crazy. I mean, it's a little more palatable now because there's a lot more sightings. You know, people are talking about it a lot more. You know, so it's not as crazy or far-fetched as it used to be back in the days when we first started speaking about this, because really there were events happening, but there were a lot of cover-ups, but now we're at the point where it's all of the information is coming out, so more people are waking up to it, so more people will be more susceptible to kind of listen a little bit. But it's still strange, because at the end, when the Lord comes to deliver his people are not going to be expecting that. So I got a couple of precepts going to go into. This is Daniel 12:10. It says, many shall be purified and made white and tried. This is dealing with the elect of the nation of Israel. But the wicked shall do wickedly, dealing with Esau. And you could apply the Israelites here that are not a part of the elect, and also the heathen. And none of the wicked shall understand. That's why it seems strange to them, because they don't understand it. But the wise shall understand, meaning the elect of the nation of Israel are going to understand the prophecies of the book. They're going to understand, the mysteries of the book. They're going to understand the salvation. They're going to understand the chariots. They're going to understand the whole picture. But the heathen, beginning with Esau, the other nations, and the Israelites that are not a part of the elect, they're not going to understand. That's why when you try to break it down, or you speaking about it out here in the streets and they see it, they make mockery of it, because to them it's something that's bugged out that they can't fathom. We go to Jeremiah 10 and 2. It says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the heathen, which are the other nations, they're dismayed at those signs, the signs of the chariots. They don't understand what that is. Now, when Jake saw the chariots during the time of slavery, they were singing to the chariots for them to come down and pick them up, because they understood what they were. When the heathen see them, they get nervous because they don't know what the hell it is. They don't have the spiritual connection to the heavens like Israel does. All right, so Isaiah 28:21, it says, for the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his what? His work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. So this is a strange work and a strange act that the Lord is causing to happen. And this is like the crescendo, the icing on the cake, that through all of this hell and captivity and everything that Jake went through, they be delivered in this fashion, and that's why before we get to it, let's go here first. Ecclesiasticus 36:6, show new signs and make other strange wonders. You see? And when Yahushua comes with that, mountain-sized chariot that's going to cover the earth, that's going to be a strange wonder, a strange act. And these nations are going to be bugged out and perturbed. But before even all of that happens, when we're speaking about it, they think that it's strange. It seems strange to them because that's not something that they're taught. See, this ain't something that's written in these different religious books of these nations. They don't talk about these things. There's no prophecies in these books. Of the prophecies. What I mean by prophecies, I'm talking about the things that are going on right now to usher in the end of the world and the coming of Yahushua. All right, they don't have that. So it says, show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, which is Yahushua, and that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Because when Yahushua comes back, he says he will not meet these devils as a man. He's coming back as an angelic power, and he's going to unleash his fury on these devils. When we speak like that and bring out the scriptures like that, these nations, they're perturbed. It seems strange to them, or they'll scoff at it, and think that, brothers are losing their marbles because of this, so they'll look at you crazy. But this is just, these are facts of things that are about to go down and happen. So Wisdom of Solomon 5:1, it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. And what is the righteous man going to do? Well, who's the righteous man first and foremost? Well, the righteous man is telling you right here, you know, who the righteous man is. The righteous men are the Israelites, right? And they're going to stand in great boldness because the Lord is going to put the Spirit on his men to stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted them. So who has afflicted us? Esau, the other nations, you know. So we're proclaiming to them that they're going to be dealt with. Because when we go to the book of Jeremiah, let's go back, before we go here, let's go to Jeremiah 1:5. Just go straight to the point. It says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of thy womb, I sanctified thee. So the prophets were already sanctified before they even came out of the womb. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So the Lord ordained us prophets unto the nations. So we are to proclaim the things of the Lord. You know, when you go through and read through the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah was speaking against the Moabites. He was speaking against the Egyptians. He was speaking against, you know, the Ammonites and all different types of nations, including Judah, you know, including the Israelites, you know. So when we proclaim these things out there, it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. See? So this is a clue, because when you look at the scheme of things, when you look at from the time these devils came to this side of the world, late 1400s, 1492 to be specific, they pretty much raped and pillaged, murdered, you know, and everything else in between these lands over here. Then they brought the so-called Negroes, the so-called West Indians and so-called Haitians over to the side of the road, which is the Southern Kingdom, and put them in captivity and worked them and worked the other tribes without any pay. Stole Gad's land, stole the lands of the Northern Kingdom, and didn't pay them for that. So they made no account of his labors. This is why they were going to stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted them. It says, when they see it, meaning who? These heathen, Esau, the other nations, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. Why? Because they're not looking for this. Now, the so-called international banking families, they know all about this. You know, they know about the chariots. You know, this is why they'll have different reports and different things that come out to try to offset it and try to, you know, paint it as being aliens, because they're trying to sway people away from it or for them to look at it in a bad light. You know, especially the Israelites. They're trying to get the Israelites to look at it in a bad light, because this is strange to them, because when the chariots come, the chariots are going to be, you know, a curse unto Esau. When you start from the first verse, it speaks about the flying roll, which is a chariot. It says, verse 3, then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, right? Because it's a curse to Esau and the nations, because this is what's going to be, or these are the vehicles that are coming to take this devil out of power. Remember, they were given the blessing of the sword by Isaac. They have great power and authority over the world. You have America, which is a superpower. You have the, you know, NATO nations and the EU nations, which are like superpowers, you know, with superior weaponry, you know. So the only way that they can be taken out of power is by divine intervention, which is the Most High Yahweh, Yahushai, the angels with the chariots. That's what's going to take these devils out of power, out of rulership. Nothing else can do it. It says, then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off on this side of it. Cut off as on this side according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. So this is a curse that's coming upon the earth. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Who was the house of the thief? Esau. They could never have enough. They're greedy. They have more than heart could wish. How did they acquire this? By the sword. Going back to the blessing that Isaac put upon them. He said that by thy sword shalt thou live, and, the fatness of the earth shall be thy dwelling, in so many words. It says, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. Why does it say that? Because they know the name of the Lord. And they make people swearing on the Bible. But they know the name of the Lord. They know the true name of the Lord. This is why those lickle hats, they say, Hashem, whenever you come across what they call the tetragrammaton, which are the four Hebrew letters that spell out the Most High's name, Yahweh. All right. It says, and it shall remain in the midst of his house. Right. So they're around. They're here. They've always been here. They never left. They've been here from the beginning. The only thing is that they're waiting because it's not time for them to open up on these devils. When it's time for them to open up on these devils, that's when they're going to get busy, but they're already here. Remember, you have the four angels over there by the river Euphrates holding back the four winds. The angels, the angels, inside joke, but the angels are manipulating the minds of these kings around the earth, or the rulers around the earth, to make all of these different moves to strategically set them up, for them to push forward the agenda of the Most High, which is World War III. And in the midst of all of that, while that's going on, you also have the whole MOTB system that's in place already, pretty much. They're just making the last final touches on it, and getting people used to, that idea of a digital world system. There was a video. I think it was a video, I believe somebody sent it to me, and the individual was saying that, matter of fact, it was the brother Yashalom from the New York camp. He put up a video of this system that's being introduced out there in England. I believe it was England, where you had, a store where you thought you could just walk in, but you had to have a QR code in order to access the what are those called? Turnstiles, so you can go in, but you can't go in unless you scan your phone or whatever the case may be. So what is that doing? That's eventually, and if you don't scan, you can't go in. So eventually, once they get people used to that system, when they have the MOTB or the micro C-hip in their hand, that's the only way they're going to be able to enter into these facilities. So they're getting everything prepared and ready. So the angels have always been here. It says, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof, right? Because the scriptures say that the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Fervent heat, people. So going back to Wisdom of Solomon 5:2, when they see it, meaning what? When they see, the boldness of the men of the Lord out there teaching, but more than that, when they see the chariots that the men of the Lord have been speaking about, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. That's why it says, be not afraid, for the heathen are dismayed, and shall be amazed at the what? Strangeness of his salvation. And it's funny because I didn't know the Apostle Gabar was going to mention this, and as you progress into the video around the 50-minute mark or so, 49-minute mark, he mentioned that. I should have put that in the on my list, but it's all the Spirit. The Spirit brought it out when it was time. So the apostle quoted it. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. They're not looking for this. Esau ain't looking for it. Heathens ain't looking for it. A lot of Jakes out there ain't looking for it. Now, the prophets of the Lord, of the prophets of Israel, the real prophets, they know. They know what's coming. The so-called elite on the left-hand side, they know what's going on. They know what's coming. But for the most part, most people don't know what to look for when they talk about salvation. Because I'm not sure what percentage in the world is Christian, but it's got to be a good portion, a good percent. They're not talking about these things, Like if you was to type in, world Christianity percentage, by per capita, whatever the case may be, I'm sure you're going to get a very big chunk of the world population is under some form of Christian dogma, whether it's a different denominations of Christianity or Roman Catholicism, but they're not looking for this. So it's so far beyond all that they look for, So this is why it's strange to them. And like I said, that's all I kept thinking about when I was listening to the video Apostle Gabar did, and he was speaking about the chariot and the vision that the Mashapad had, and the song was what capped it off, for Max Romeo, War in Babylon, and that's what set this whole train of thought going forward. So Barakatah Bashim Al Shai for that. And Lord's will, this is edifying lesson and uplifting and comforting, to you brothers and few sisters out there. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves. See? So they're going to be repenting and groaning. Why? Because to them, we're just niggas, spick, spooks, wetbacks, whatever the case may be. 31%, the water, Benji. So 31% of the world is Christian, but they're not talking about these things. So they're going to be repenting and groaning within themselves for anguish of spirit. 24% Muslim, they're not talking about that. It says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. So in other words, these niggas, these spicks, these tontos, these beaners, these are the people of the Lord? How can that be? Oh, we fools accounted his life madness. Right. And this is what's going on. What we do out here is accounted for madness to these people. When we go to 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 9, right? It says, for I think that the Most High has set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed to death, for we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. So this is we're a spectacle. People are amazed at this, but they also account it foolishness. They account it madness, and its end to be without honor, because they're like, man, this nonsense, this is going to pass, just like the Muslim pass, just like the Black Panthers pass, just like this fad pass, that fad pass. This is just another one of those crazy fads that you know how those black people and those Latino people get down, those Indian people, they're crazy. We just got to let them go, and eventually it's just going to fade out. No, it's not. This is the truth, and it's going to increase. And even that devil vocab, I was watching a video the Apostle Gabar did, they was talking about these books. Even vocab said that they're very dedicated. And it's not because of us, it's because of the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That's the only reason. It says, how is he numbered among the children of the Most High and his lot among the saints? Right, because they're thinking that we're just heathens. We're just servants. We're just, the butt of everybody's joke. And this goes back to the curses, proverb and a byword, It says, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, right? Because they don't know the truth. And the ones that do know it, or the ones that do have it, don't understand it. And the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us, and the Son of righteousness rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. That's Esau. That's the other nations. But you could hit Esau on the top of the chart on this, especially the so-called international banking families. Yea, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Right? It's because they've done everything else but the things that are pleasing unto the Lord. Because although they have the instructions, they don't follow the instructions. So they really don't know the instructions, even though they have it. It's like having a manual. You're in a jam, Your car's broken down, and you have all of the tools. You have the hood open. You know what the problem is. You don't know how to fix it, but you have an actual instruction book that can show you how to fix it. But the instruction book is written in Mandarin, or some other dialect that you don't understand. So what is it? It's the book, it's the instruction, but it's useless to you because you don't understand it. And that's how it is for Esau and the other nations. And that's why the book of Eli is so heavy, because it was a book, the Bible that Denzel was carrying, was written in Braille. And you wouldn't know that. It was written in Braille. And at the end, when Carnegie went through all of that hell to get it, he still wasn't able to read it because it was written in Braille. So he still didn't understand the instructions. That was a very heavy movie. So it says, what hath pride profited us, or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted away. So pretty much this truth seems strange to the heathen. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.